decision people. He finished most people. He's dominant. He have a long range, and he can strike. With Volkanovski, knocked him out. Poirier strike with him, submitted Poirier, submitted Moicano, submitted. Just he beat. See how Bobby Green is still looking. You remember what Islam did to him like 5 years ago?
Yep.
He played with him like a child. And Bobby Green smashing guys left and right. That shows you how good Islam is, right? Mm-hmm. My opinion, I always said Khabib is the most dominant fighter of all the time. Nobody will ever touch him. But if you talk about GOAT status, I think Islam today is the greatest fighter of all the time. Nobody will ever catch his record, winning streak, accolade. It will never be broken. And it will never be broken.
Islam Makhachev opens door to Carlos Prates, next title challenger in the pipeline following Islam's dominant victory over Garry. The discussion around the division shifted immediately to contenders. Islam called out Carlos Prates directly, signaling openness to that matchup as his next challenge. Meanwhile, Prates confirmed he's already in talks with the UFC about facing the winner regardless of the outcome, positioning himself as the rightful next challenger. The promotion appears to be aligned on Prates as the successor. But before that fight happens, we need to understand what makes Prates uniquely dangerous and how his mechanical approach differs from other top-level welterweights currently circling Islam.
He cannot tie Islam's shoes. He cannot even shine his shoes. You know, the guy have what, 11 fights in the UFC, 9 finishes, 9 decisions. Islam is 10, last 11 fight, 9 finishes or 8 finishes. You know, Islam finishes people. Islam bounce people head off the wall. Islam submit people. You know, he's gonna do what Islam want him to do in the fight. Islam is gonna hunt him like a deer who's a hunter, who's a 50 caliber machine gun. And after that, he's gonna put a bullet in his head. And I think it was other people more deserving than him. But guess what? He talked to himself into this title shot, like Kobe did, like McGregor did, and what happened? They all...
Prates' finishing profile. Striking efficiency over volume. Carlos Prates' last 3 UFC fights produced 3 finishes, all within the first 2 rounds, knocking out Josh Emmett, former champ, Liam Ward, and JDM in succession. What separates Prates from other power strikers is his composure in the pocket and his ability to identify angular strikes that create involuntary movement in opponents. His Muay Thai is textured. He's not throwing heavy combinations blindly, but rather placing strikes that set up the next strike. Against JDM in particular, he demonstrated Anderson Silva-level comfort in distance management, standing with precision rather than pressure. His finishes come from opportunistic, clean striking, not from overwhelming volume. In a potential matchup against Islam, this matters immensely because Islam's wrestling entry works off pressure-building forward momentum. Prates doesn't crumble under pressure. He creates distance and finds angles. That's a different tactical problem than what Islam faced against Garry.
He tried to, in the fight week, he always tried to be like bad guy, you know, but he act like he bad guy. So I saw his couple interview. Honestly, he looks very bad in this interview. Better for him training more and do less interview, you know. It look like somebody in the house control him and tell him what to say in the interview, you know. He look very bad in the interview, honestly.
Islam's pressure system, footwork and takedown timing. Islam's dominance sits on 3 mechanical pillars: footwork positioning, clinch control timing, and predictive takedown placement. He doesn't blast in for takedowns. He sets them up by controlling where an opponent can move. His lead leg placement forces opponents into a box where his preferred takedown angle becomes inevitable. Against Garry, Islam could dictate the rhythm from the opening exchange because Garry's footwork was reactive rather than positional. Prates, however, has footwork structure built into his guard. His stance widens when threatened, and his base is difficult to compromise without committing significant weight. Islam will need either to attack the legs directly, which Prates has solid TDD against, or commit to clinch dominance, where the exchange becomes more explosive and less one-directional.
Now, Islam also told them, if you go get Sarukian, if my only chance to face Sarukian, I'll do it. Other than that, if it's Ian Garry, I'm going to wait until I heal up. Now, a guy wanting to be whole makes perfect sense. And a guy saying, I'll do the fight, I just need to do it over at this date. Okay, his hands are clean. But there's something that Islam sees that tells him I need to be as close to 100% and peaked as possible to deal with this guy. There's something that Islam respects. And when you find that out, that is helpful towards Ian Garry's side. Islam is confident, he is fully confident, but he also has a confidence that if I don't do everything just right,
The striking to grappling transition, where the exchange resolves if Prates can maintain distance in the first round, Islam will be forced to make commitments earlier than he'd prefer. Prates' right hand and lead kicks create legitimate threat perception, meaning Islam's forward pressure can't simply ignore the hands. This creates a window where Prates' wrestling defense becomes relevant. Islam will be working off a more complex entry pattern than usual. However, Islam's ground control remains the functional advantage. Even if Prates defends the initial takedown, he'll spend energy and lose positional initiative. The question becomes, can Prates finish or damage Islam enough in the first 2 rounds before wrestling volume compounds? Islam's cardio in clinch control and top control is superior, but Prates' finishing instinct is faster. This fight resolves in round 2 based on who controls the exchanges at the transition point.
if he's conceding that he's going to be down, he can't beat him. And if he gets taken down, he's trying to concede and find different ways he can win from his back, he's not going to beat him. But if he's spending all his time down, getting back up, there is nothing that will break a wrestler more than if you get up from his takedown. Now, you got to do 3. But if you do 3, he won't try to take you down again. If that wrestler takes you down and you get up, and he takes you down again and you get up, he takes you down again and you get up, you're not going to see takedown number 4. So can Ian get up? Does he have that hustle? He's got those arms where he can get an underhook, keep his body tight.
Prates has a division problem, not an Islam problem. What makes Prates different from other contenders circling Islam is that he brings legitimate finishing threat. Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman present wrestling pressure and decision-making. Shavkat Rakhmonov presents wrestling plus power. Prates brings pure striking efficiency. He's designed to hurt you in phases, not accumulate position. Against Islam specifically, that's valuable because Islam's division has been reactive. Prates is the first contender in this cycle attempting to establish volume from the striking phase before Islam can dictate clinch control. Whether he succeeds depends on footwork precision and whether Islam respects his hands enough to adjust his forward entry. Either way, the matchup forces Islam into a technical adjustment. That's what makes it worth watching. It's not a hype narrative, it's a mechanical clash.